Hello and welcome to Reaching the Summit on Business RadioX. That was a little tribute to Eddie Van Halen. May he rest in peace, one of the greater guitar players ever to play in a rock and roll band. I think we all have a soft spot for him. We are broadcasting live from the Subaru of Gwinnett studio at the Sonesta Gwinnett Place Atlanta Hotel. I am Don Conklin, and along with Teresa Conklin, every month on Reaching the Summit, you will meet successful business leaders who have climbed the mountain and reached the summit in their profession. We will talk to them about their journey, the challenges they faced, and the lessons and insights they have learned along the way. Reaching the Summit is presented by Pinnacle Custom Signs. Get a more elevated look with your business signage. Visit pinnaclecustomsigns.com. Today, our guests are Brian and Natalie Thompson from Marco's Pizza and Leta Brooks from Status Home Design. Welcome, guys. We're glad to have you with us today to talk about your businesses.
Thank you.
So I'll turn over to Teresa.
Good morning.
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 Leta, could you tell us a little bit about your business, Status Home Design?
Sure. That's one of four.
Right. Okay.
So we have a lot to cover, right?
Right.
Status Home Design is my retail store.
Okay.
So it's a 12,000 square foot home decor furniture store over in Decula. Mm-hmm. And if you're traveling 85, it is exit 120. So we are at the Hamilton Mill exit up off of 85. And it's got a different business model, which I like to call a fun business model. So I've got 70 individual vendors that rent space in my store.
Okay.
Along with, I have a full seamstress upholstery workshop in the back of the store. We also build custom furniture, and I have a full service interior design firm inside the store. So the concept of the store is one-stop shop.
Okay.
There's nothing that you could possibly need from your home that we can't provide.
Okay. Sounds like a very interesting business model. And
yeah.
All under one roof, too.
All under one roof. Yes.
Yeah,
it's a lot of fun. So the vendors, almost you would see it as antique mall style, antique mall style, but more upscale.
Okay.
Nowadays, actually, antiques don't sell very well. Everybody wants them repainted. And so we have a full classroom inside the store where we teach DIY classes. So if you have these antiques or just something that might be dated or you're changing your colors, we sell the paint, and we will actually, you could take a class from our instructor specific to repainting it all.
Oh my goodness, sign me up.
Yeah, they are fun.
We just finished our basement, so I've been looking for how do we decorate it, and I'm still struggling with that, and it's about ready to be finished product.
Sure.
So.
I'm gonna get my hands on it.
Well,
I'm gonna come over.
I thought like dogs playing poker would be good over the bar. I think that would work.
No.
So when did you start the business, Leta?
Status Home Design started in 2005. And what I meant by we have multiple, so Status Design Studio is my interior design firm. And that's really where this was born. So I started Status Design Studio in 2008. This is now 2020. So I am 20 years as an interior designer. So I got my degree in interior design. I started 20 years ago. I worked 10 years down on the coast of Florida, building the big houses that you see when you drive up A1A. Came back in 2008 to Georgia. I am from Gwinnett County. I went to Brookwood High School and graduated from the University of Georgia. And so, again, it all started with Status Design Studio. Mm-hmm. And it's really interesting because as an interior designer, when I go on an install, for example, if I come to your basement, the day that we're going to have the big reveal and I'm going to make it fabulous, it's called install day. I'm going to bring twice as much merchandise to that install than I'm actually going to need because I don't 100%. I know the big furniture pieces, right? We're going to scale out the big stuff, but all the little stuff, the lamps, I may not know until I get there what I want to put. Well, sometimes when you buy that merchandise, especially when you buy it wholesale, you can't return it. Mm-hmm. So I opened a booth at a small place and loved it. And I opened that booth to start selling my surplus merchandise. And that's really where the concept for the store was born because it came out of my design firm. It came from having a surplus. I loved the work. I loved staging my booth. I loved picking. I loved seeing what the sales were each month. And I wanted to do it on a larger scale. So I took that business model and I formed Status Home Design. And we just celebrated our 5-year anniversary.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
That's wonderful. Good. Brian and Natalie, could you tell me a little bit about your journey to Marco's?
Sure. So we actually, just a little bit of my background. I worked for Target for 17 years before really deciding to make a change. So I ran Target stores. So I was in retail management for a long time, worked all the crazy hours and all that stuff. So when Brian and I got married back in 2015, shortly thereafter, we decided we probably need to start looking at something different if we were going to have a family or whatever we were going to do to change those hours. And so, we really looked at how let's invest in ourselves. So actually in 2018 was when decided to make the career change, and we started looking at different franchises and what we could get involved with. And we started talking to friends that had owned some pizza franchises, and we looked into all the big 4 pizza franchises and what we could do. And then we really started diving into Marco's Pizza. And the great thing about Marco's is we had always been customers of Marco's, and we were like, we really like their pizza. And as we got more and more involved with it, it was so cool to see the fresh ingredients and what they do that's different. So really we're sold with their fresh products and quality ingredients. So we make our dough fresh in the store every day. Our founder, Pat Giammarco, founded Marco's in 1978. He's a true Italian that came over and opened his first store in Ohio. And we still use his sauce recipe. Our cheese is fresh and never frozen. We cut all of our vegetables fresh in the store every day. So when it comes to a quick service pizza company, we really stand out above the others. So just have a great product that really sold us on it. And then as we were diving into it, finding out more about information about it, it has a great people first culture. So the information that they shared with us about how our business could be successful was just what drew us to it. So we signed our papers in January of 2019 to open our first Marco's, and then we opened October 3rd last year over on Cruse Road, and it's been a really exciting year. We just had our 1-year anniversary on Saturday for Marco's, and it was a tough year. Obviously, through the coronavirus, we had a lot of different challenges to face, being new business owners and learning through that. But I have to say we have learned a lot, and it's been very rewarding to own our own business. And we're really excited to continue to grow. So
1 year.
1 year.
You survived. I met Natalie and Brian walking into Sonesta today, and I said, listen, you're going to hear me ask you about your first 2 years of business. You've only got one. And I said, the first 2 years of owning your own business is 2 years of hell. Yeah. Mike's heard this before, right? And so the first thing Natalie looked at me, she goes, 1 year down, great.
You're the first person to have a positive reaction to him saying that.
Yeah.
And it's a challenge. I know it's a challenge. We opened our business 9 years ago. It seems like yesterday sometimes.
No, we just had the 9th anniversary.
So I tell people 9 years sounds so odd. So I say we're in our 10th year. So it makes it sound better, right? So, but you think about it, and we had the same thing. I was sick of corporate America. Teresa was sick of corporate America. It was like, okay, what do we do now? Mm-hmm. Our kids had all left the house. We have 4 boys. They had all grown. So we looked around, and it's like nothing really said anything to us, right? It's like there was nothing out there that's like, yeah, I want to do that. And we're not extremely inventive people. So it wasn't we had a business concept. We can go on Shark Tank or something like that and get money, right? So someone said, what about signs? And I'm like, signs? Whoever thought about signs, right? And all of a sudden, I start looking around, and there's signs everywhere, right? It's like, and so Teresa's like, why would you get into signs? And she was commuting from downtown Atlanta. I'd pick her up at Discovery Place and drive her to Hamilton Mill. And the entire trip, car would drive by us with a wrap or with graphics. And I said, there's a sign.
Or a big old truck.
There's a sign. And she's like, okay. And so, just like, pizza and food or design, it's one of those businesses that people really need. Mm-hmm. It's not that hard to convince them that they really need it. And if you're in a business and a business person, you really know that you need signage, especially if you have your own place. I mean, you probably had your sign up over there before you opened your doors, would be my guess.
Yeah, before we built out a lot of it, the signs were up.
Well, you've got to let people know that you're coming.
Yep, absolutely.
And then build that anticipation.
Absolutely.
So, Leta, what was your biggest challenge opening up the physical location when you did that 5 years ago?
Well, it had to do with my business model in the vendors. So I have all this square footage, and when someone is going to come and want to be a part of your store, Well, it's a blank canvas. I had to sell them on the dream of the store. I had to sell a vendor and say, why would you want to pay rent to be here and be a vendor inside Status when it's a blank canvas? There's nothing on the wall. Right now, even 2 years in, 3 or 5 years, they come in and see the store, and I'm actually on a waiting list of vendors to get inside my store. You have to be approved. You can't just be a vendor at Status if you want to be. You have to send me your concept. You have to send me what items you want to sell. I don't let my vendors compete with each other. If I have one or two doing jewelry, we do just a little bit of that. We do a lot of gifts too. Again, it is one-stop shop, truly. So we just make sure we don't have too many others doing the exact same thing. Now, we have the majority do furniture and home decor, and that's what I try to keep it, but that's many different styles.
Right.
And one dresser is never going to look like the next, especially if you paint it. So that I don't really regulate, but I just make sure everything is current style. We don't want anything that's dated. So the biggest challenge, now my original business model, I thought I was going to do consignment. I was going to be, we're going to do some consignment. Well, here's what I found out real quickly. People consign because it's dated. Okay. So my store looked like it was from about 1998. Now I have a big store, beautiful. I'm an interior designer. I'm trying to sell my vision to all these vendors, and yet I'm taking on everything that was burgundy and gold. And so I had to rework, constantly reworking the model. And so then I started being a lot choosier with the consignment that I was bringing in. And that helped, right? Bringing in more upscale pieces. This is sort of a sad statement, but my best consigners are either moving or getting divorced, because it means it's not dated. It just means it's not going to fit. And so I get much more current merchandise. But even then, I added, so I originally started with 7,500 square feet. Very quickly, I added 5,000 more because the store next to me, which wasn't mine, it was a sporting goods store, went out of business. I grabbed theirs and I cut a hole. So now I have 12,500. That was going to be my consignment showroom. And I ended up doing again, constantly evolving, constantly changing the business model and making it where I needed to be. Dropped consignment. I realized I was spending about 40 to 50 hours a week only on consignment, which is the lowest money maker out of my business model. Okay. So the most amount of time, the least amount of money, I had to scrap it. I gave that extra 5,000 feet to the vendors, and I added more vendors, and it brought the look of the store up in a big way. The revenue was there. It's that many more vendors. I added 20 vendors, that many more vendors, putting it on social media, and it worked. So it's constantly evolving.
Gotcha. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pandemic. 2020 is a great year, right? We're going to unplug it and plug it back in and see if it resets itself. But, when I think of the pandemic and what's been happening since the beginning of March for the most part, and I think of Marco's, I say, you guys must be making money hand over fist because people are always ordering in now. So, but tell us the reality of what happened to you during the pandemic.
Absolutely. So, actually, the first couple weeks we saw a drop with our revenue and sales, and I think because everybody was just really, really nervous. And then Marco's had a great reaction to it, and we had to constantly evolve, as you say, throughout the pandemic. We've been making changes weekly on it. So at first it was about how do we make sure the health and safety of our guests and our team members are number one. So we focused on cleaning guidelines and sanitation. So we would sanitize and clean, and we still are, every hour, high touch areas, computers, doorknobs, door handles, restrooms. We're focusing on carry out and delivery, so being the main focus, and had the dining room closed, but still allowing for that carry out and delivery. We've even had, and then we evolved and had curbside. So we would take the stuff out to the car, either put it in a back seat if the guest maybe hopped open their trunk, put their pizzas in the trunk for them, just to really limit that experience. The guest doesn't even have to call us or anything. There's now a button on their app that they can say that they've arrived, and we can take their stuff out to them, what car they're in. So that's been really helpful. We also implemented mask wearing for all of our teams. So our teams wear a mask every day. They also do a health check every day. So they acknowledge that they are required to wear a mask for their entire shift, that they're going to wash their hands at least every 30 minutes, or anytime they're changing tasks. They also do a temperature check every day. and make sure that they don't have any symptoms of the coronavirus. So that's the number one thing. We've been very fortunate that none of our team members have gotten the virus, and that we continue to remain healthy and able to serve the community, because that's the most important. I think during those uncertain times, just for us to be able to be there and offer a safe product for the guest has been huge. Our pizzas are cooked in a 500-degree oven, so anything you're going to get from us is going to be safe. So our response and Marco's response to it has been, evolving, but I think it's been really good. And honestly, I feel like a lot of it's going to change and stay even after the pandemic. I think the curbside is great. It's convenient if you have children. Just to stay in your car and we bring it out to you. Yeah. And it's just that little added extra. Also, our delivery, we've had contactless delivery that we've added. So if you have a chair out on your front porch, we can leave your pizzas there. It's whatever you'd like to do. We are able to accommodate, and our teams have been great to accommodate that as well. And they've been quick for the new training and be able to make that happen for the guests in a safe way. So yes. So since then, we have seen a dramatic increase. Getting back to your original question, I think pizza's everybody's comfort food, and that's kind of where everybody fell during it. So and it was great because a lot of new people tried us too, and we continue to see the guests come back. And so that's our number one is. Obviously our guest service and how do we take care of them and our teams, and we've been really pleased with our performance through that, and been happy for the business.
Did coronavirus affect your business, Leta?
Yes, it did, and very positive way and very negative way. And the long and short of it is I got it. I had corona back in right at the beginning of the shutdown. So we closed the store on Friday, March 20th, and Monday, March 23rd, I was being tested for corona. Wow. So I just woke up, with all the symptoms on that Monday morning. So honestly, I was really grateful for the shutdown because I needed to, having it, right? I was now in quarantine, and it took about 5 weeks for me to be 100%. Now, I wasn't down and out for 5 weeks, and I won't go into the whole corona thing, but, there was about 2 weeks that I wasn't moving much and a solid week that I was in bed. So for me to have the store completely shut down was necessary. But I do have a phenomenal staff, a phenomenal manager. We were doing a lot of virtual where we would take videos every day of booths. Curbside pickup was huge. So then around it was probably late April, I have a seamstress, upholsterer, and she came to me and said, I want to sell masks. And I thought, no. I am not in the mask selling business. I don't want to do that. People are giving away masks, right?
Yeah, they were at the beginning.
Right. Well, they were giving them to first responders. Mm-hmm. They weren't necessary. So now that we're getting ready to open back up mid-May, and we realized, there's a need for all of us to sell masks or to have masks. So I thought, all right, I'm just going to try it. So I did a little video, put it out on social media. It was absolutely crazy with the need. I was shipping masks all over the United States. I was on the phone one day for almost 10 hours just taking calls, ordering masks. She couldn't sew fast enough. She brought in an entire team. She was sewing till 3, 4, 5 in the morning. One morning I was coming for a curbside pickup at 8:30 and she was just leaving, having sewn all night. Oh, wow. And so anyway, so that saved us truly, because at that point it was time to get some revenue going. I was back in the saddle, right, trying to. And we started selling masks, and it got us through. And then once we opened the doors, people want to shop. I mean, my third quarter numbers were better than last year's fourth quarter. I mean, it has been, I can't imagine to see what this holiday season is going to be. People are shopping, and in a big way. We're not traveling right now. Right. Sports are just getting started. So what did everybody do in the last few months? They
stayed home and looked at their house and said, I need to change that. I need to change that.
The paint, we can't keep paint in stock. I mean, this is a really good problem to have if you're in retail right now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So Teresa, how do you think it affected us?
It didn't really. We never really shut down. We gave our team a week off, more for mental health because everybody was just kind of freaking out with the unknown. But we pretty much kept going. Business slowed down for us, but we tried to keep everything as normal as we possibly could. So
Yeah, normal is a kind of an interesting word. We actually do a lot of business nationally. So inevitably the areas that were shut down big time, like the Northeast, like I had signs sitting in a warehouse, still have signs sitting in a warehouse in New Jersey because the governments aren't open to issue permits and the people aren't opening up to install signage. So you have that going. But then on the other hand, you see all the the COVID signs all over the place, right? I mean, we're making a lot of the COVID signs that we never would have thought about making previously. So there's kind of a double-edged sword to it. But at the end of the day, it's all about the people and getting the people through it, our employees through it, right? Because they're fear of the unknown and what's going to happen with their business, because they hear the news and they hear these businesses are shutting down, these small businesses are going out of business, what percentage of small businesses are going out of business, kind of, having that strong front to them. And like Teresa said, we said, it was a week before Easter, we said, go home, we're going to pay you. Don't worry about it, you get full pay for this week, but just go recharge your batteries, because all of the misinformation and back and forth in March about this shutdown, that shutdown, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and everybody's like, and every morning they'd come in and say, did you hear this or did you hear that? It's like, listen, just go home.
Yeah, I think it was a blessing in disguise.
Well, I wanted to say specific to that, I felt like it was really difficult having a retail business because there were no specific guidelines.
Right.
And the stress on me, it was unbelievable. And I really feel like that attributed to me getting it. And I'm immune suppressed anyway, so I'm sure that's why I got it. But I mean, when you are broken down from stress, he gave Governor, we're here taping in Georgia, so our governor is Governor Kemp. I felt like he gave much better instructions for restaurants. I felt like you guys had an itemized list. Do this, do that. Retail didn't. It was a complete guessing game. We didn't know if we could open. We didn't know if we should close. It was awful.
We struggled the same way. We struggled the same way because at some point in time we were like, well, are we essential or are we not essential?
Right.
Because there was no real clear-cut definition of what essential was. So the two of us are arguing. He's saying we're essential, we should open. I'm like, maybe we shouldn't because I don't know what's going on. So it was very, very stressful at the beginning.
Yeah.
We are essential.
I know.
Just so you know.
I know. Now we are.
Essential.
Now we are.
So.
Yeah,
I think signage is essential.
Yes.
I think food is essential too.
That was a no-brainer. We were definitely essential, and so it was a lot easier for us. And my main focus was to be there with the team every day. I think leadership was a huge thing during the pandemic. So being there for my customers and for our team was really important. So I was like, I'm just going to be here every day, even if I'm walking around with the sanitizer bottle and sanitizing and cleaning. So and that helped with the reassurance that
I think so.
We're all going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about your core DNA. So, you have a business. So what kind of values drive you? And not just the Marco values, but the Brian and Natalie values that drive your business, because you are your business, whether you're a franchise or whether you open up your own business. So it's your DNA and your vision and how you drive it that the employees see and will or will not work for. So tell us a little bit about that.
That's actually funny because I feel like anytime I interview either new management or new team members, they always ask me this question.
So then you're prepared.
I'm prepared for this one. So my two is teamwork and guest service. So our guests are everything to us. And if they're not happy with something, we have to make it right for them. So even if they put an order in online wrong and they put a regular crust and they wanted a thin crust, it's our job to get them that thin crust that they really wanted on that pizza, and just really get them that product that they want, because you don't want anybody to be disappointed, especially when you're eating pizza. Like, pizza's a fun night.
It's a happy food.
It's a happy food. It brings your family together. It's fun, and so we always want to make it right. So I want anybody on my team to be empowered to do that and to be able to apologize to the guests, and let's fix it for them and give them that great service up front. I love it when I read the guest comments that they're so satisfied with my team and that they have never experienced this at a pizza place and how friendly everybody is, and that we can have a good time and remember them by their names. So that's been super important for us and for our community. And then the second thing is teamwork. So I've built a team that will do any job in the store. So even though we have different positions that everybody does, we have drivers. The only thing is our teenagers can't drive. That's the only thing that they can't do. But it's not saying this is your job. It's everybody jumping in and helping out to help the store run better. Everybody in my store can answer a telephone. Everybody can do dishes. Everybody can sweep the floor. And that's the main thing I say to anybody. Even as the owner, I'll go in and clean the bathrooms or, do whatever. So I put that out. So that's what I expect from our team too. And those are my core values and what's most important as a business owner. And, even looking a year in, I feel like we've really been able to build that. And that's the cultural foundation that we need to continue to be successful.
What about you, Leta?
Same question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I like to say my store has a pulse. And if you've been inside Status Home Design, you would know what that feels like. You're greeted when you walk in. My staff goes through extensive sales training. We get on the other side of the register. We are there to help you. When we take something from you to put at the register, what is your name? Are you just shopping? Good. Have fun. Relax. I mean, we engage our customers in a big way. And right now, 90% of our foot traffic, and I've told you how phenomenal, we're doing right now, it is repeat customers. And they keep coming back and back. And there is a reason for that. We have built way more than just a store. We have built a community. If you are a vendor, you are part of the Status family. You're never an employee, you're a team member. And we use these terms interchangeably. And that's why there is a waiting list of people that want to be a part of what we have created. And it's not me. I am, I may be the owner of the company, but I have a rock solid foundation of a team behind me. From the design firm to we have online, an e-commerce store that we've built, and all in every single way.
But everybody, I think, has the same vision, and so
everybody
that's why
has
you're all
the
going
same
in the
vision.
same direction.
Everybody has the same goal. We work interchangeably. Again, it's to help the customers. I had one of my employees last night. I just love being here. It's so great. Thank you. It's not work.
Right.
We go there and we absolutely enjoy what we're doing. And that comes across to our customers, truly.
That's awesome.
That's the community. And we do community events the first Saturday of every month. And again, that's to bring the community in every way that we can.
What types of community events do you do?
So it's coined Status Super Saturday. And COVID changed it a little bit because we used to do a full hors d'oeuvre table. We would have cocktails. Mm-hmm. Everything was themed, so the holidays are real easy to theme, but just this past Saturday, we did a tailgate. So the weather was beautiful, so we had it outside. I can't pack the store right now because of the numbers, the social distancing. I can have a lot because I've got 12,000 square feet, but if it was raining, we really would have been in a pinch. But we took over the parking lot. We always do. We do a huge sidewalk sale. We had football games going. We had it all decorated in football themes. Everybody wore their jerseys or their team, gave away free beer. I mean, just made a really fun event where people can come, they can relax, the guys can watch football, the ladies can shop. We had pumpkin decorating for the kids. And we do that the first Saturday of every month.
Okay.
And so the next two events are going to be holiday themed, a holiday bazaar and a winter wonderland.
Okay.
So again, they changed a little during Corona, especially during the summer because it was way too hot. Nobody wants to shop outside when it's 90 degrees. You will walk right past anything we've put in the parking lot to get into the AC. So we really downscaled everything. But now that the weather's turned, we're amping them back up again.
That's fun.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
Yeah,
of
they're
fun.
a lot. You got to come to the next one.
I think I'm going to
put that on your calendar.
I will.
Good.
Can you tell me about the community and how that contributes to the success of your business?
Yeah, absolutely. So we love being involved in the community. I know when everything first happened with the pandemic and it was unsure of our first responders, Brian actually helped me deliver pizzas to all of our fire departments. We have two different we have Gwinnett Station 20 and Station 5 in our delivery area. So we dropped off pizzas for the guys on a Sunday night, just thanking them because it was still really unsure and continued, to offer them different things throughout the year to be able to support them. Also, we love being involved with our schools and being able to support our schools. And as things are changing with how they can fundraise, really looking at how we can support them and continue to help them with fundraising efforts, even though maybe they can't have their fall festivals or different things like that, but continue to help with that. So it's really important to get out there and support our businesses that have been, and our first responders, our schools that have been able to support us over the last year.
Yeah.
So, you both have successful businesses. So, I mean, the question I would have is, someone comes to you and says, hey, thinking about opening up a business. What are the 3 things you're going to tell them? What are the 3 pieces of advice that you're going to give them? And maybe it's lessons learned from you guys, too. So what are the 3 things you'll tell them?
Clear your schedule.
Always be hiring is number 1. We are not in... Brian always say we're not in the pizza business, we're in the people business.
We're in the HR business, and we happen to sell pizzas.
Yeah. So always be hiring, and is number 1 for me. So even if you think you're staffed, you're not. Keep going. Be involved. You're going to have to be involved to really know the ins and outs of the business, and that also puts you in a great spot because now nobody can tell me something I don't know. I've been there. I've ran the day to day. I know how. I know it. So, and I know what it takes to run that business intimately. And then a third one. You got any thoughts?
Drawing a blank.
Those are my 2 big ones.
Well, I can tell from just by talking with you that the third one I would say for you guys is stay positive, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Stay positive, right?
Yeah.
What did Henry Ford once said? Whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Things positive.
That's absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You got to look at the, you got to look at it from that way because every day you got to wake up and keep going.
Yeah. And for you, Leta, because I know you've been in business really for 20 years, privately, and then doing this. I mean, I'm sure the same kind of leadership skills and lessons that you've learned, and you probably advise a lot of people that come into your place as they're starting to open up their consignments and stuff like that.
Yes, I have been approached to do a lot of consulting now from a business standpoint, which has been really interesting to take that role on. I've just learned so much. I feel like, the 5 years of just having the store has been a 20-year education. You learn and you make decisions. And so for me, it's really, truly trusting myself, trusting my gut. I mentioned before that I have a solid team, and I have to have that. I have so many ventures, and I've really taken on this kind of entrepreneurial aspect with the interior design firm. Now I have an e-commerce store. I have a podcast and a blog where I'm really stepping out in the forefront a little bit different because I've always really been behind my store, and that was the forefront and the store. So that's 4 status ventures that I have going right now. And clear your schedule, that's a huge one. I tried to take a day off yesterday. I declared it because I worked all weekend. We had this event. I worked all day Sunday, Monday, late. I mean, I worked till 7, 8 o'clock every night. And I declared it to everyone. And I felt like I had to justify it, right? I got to take a day off. Well, I took a day off from one business, but I had to shoot a live last night for the e-commerce store. So it's not truly ever a day off. It's maybe a few hours here and there to run the errands. But, so that's a biggie. Just be prepared if you're going to open your own business to jump in with 2 feet, and you got to give it everything or it's not going to be successful. So the time constraint, but hiring the right people. I've been really fortunate. I've had very, very low turnover in the 5 years that I've had the store. I've got employees that have been with me for 5 years, 3 years. And that just, that is the community that we've built. So
it's always great when you got a great team behind you.
Yeah. So now I have a manager for the interior design firm, a store manager, and a manager for the e-commerce site. So that allows me to kind of sit at the top, and I don't mean that in an arrogant way. I meant that in an entrepreneurial way, that they can really run the day-to-day, and I can
it gives
really
you the
oversee.
opportunity to work on your business and say, what's the next step? Where are we going from here? As opposed to being down in the weeds.
So a little snippet. We are... I don't know who the team, I guess I always say we, I am trying to open our second location. So I am having a ton of meetings and business development and branching out. And so, yes, having the managers, having everything really successful and running like clockwork, it's time for the next one. Yeah.
Exciting.
And what about you, Teresa?
What do you mean, what about
9 years, what would you advise people to do?
Well, yeah, we're always hiring. I'm getting tired of hiring. For me, I like to lead by example. I like being at the office. I like working with our team, seeing what they're doing, trying to learn about what they're doing. Because when we started this industry, we had no concept of even what a sign really was or how they were made. So we've learned a whole lot there. And I had another one, and what did I? Oh, and it's to not be afraid of making mistakes, because we've done plenty of those as well. And have had to learn to, okay, so we've made this mistake. What do we not do the next time the same situation arises? How do we put a process in place to prevent that kind of stuff from happening? So those are probably the two biggest ones I've got. Okay. And you?
Well, the first thing, and I think Leta hit it right on the head, is being a visionary. What's your business look like? We sit down and put together, and this is funny, we put together a 5-year plan, right? Numbers, the whole 9 yards, 5-year plan. And I went to my my financial planner, because I was going to invest a lot of money in this. And Teresa says, if you can convince Dave that it's the right thing to do, then we can do it, right? So I had all my plans put together, and he looked at me and goes, you're ahead of 75% of people opening up a small business. I said, why? He goes, some people have something on the back of a napkin as to what they're going to do, right? And that's it. They don't know what profits are, what losses are, how you're going to be able to make cash flow. And I know you guys do, because you have a good model, and I know you probably do as well. But it's amazing to me, people who don't have, like we said, we're going to be $1 million business in 4 years. And everything we did was towards the goal, right? And it's a forward-looking goal. We have an interesting relationship, Teresa and I. I'm the guy who thinks crap up, and she's the person that tries to implement the crap I think up. Right?
Or say no.
And it really works out. I'm the high-level person. She's a detail person, because I hate detail, and so it works. It's worked out well in 40 years of our relationship, the 4 kids we've raised, the whole 9 yards. It's like we just fit together that way. And so we didn't realize when we started this business together we'd be together 24/7, right? And it still worked out the same way. We don't get in each other's way most of the time.
Most of the time. It's when our 2 boys that are in the business start getting into fights with the 2 of us. That's when it gets to be a little bit interesting around. When we interview people, we say, have you ever worked for a family business before? And they'll say, well, yeah. I said, no. Have you really ever worked for a family business before? An Italian family business. So, but, the other thing I would tell you, and this is very contrary to what the business books would say, we hire fast and fire fast. You always hear, no, you're supposed to hire
slow.
We hire fast and fire fast. And the reason is this. It's all about culture for us. Signs is not a difficult business, okay? There is some expertise in some areas of the signage, but for the most part, you're trying to hire someone from a cultural fit. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm not good enough in an interview to find out if someone has the cultural fit. Because they're interviewing for a job. They're going to tell you whatever
you want to hear.
And I'll say, hey, our 5 core values are having fun being part of a team, being positive, be driven, pay attention to detail, and make sure you have great customer great customer service. And no one's going to sit there and say, no, I don't have that one, right? They're all going, oh, yeah. And then I drop the line that Teresa always loves to hear. I said, if I hire you and you don't have one of these, the whole team's going to know it, and you'll be ejected like a virus. And it seriously, invariably happens. If someone comes on, we put them on a 3-month probation. They leave within 3 months. We'll sit around the table after they leave, and I'd ask the team, I said, so why do you think Don's not with us anymore? Because didn't have that attention to detail, or, wasn't driven to be the best. And they all know, because they all have the values. And so much, I'm not hiring for Don and Teresa and Pinnacle Custom Signs. I'm hiring to have a cog in the employee machine that they can fit and work with, because it's not about whether they can cut a straight line or print a sign or install a sign. It's how they do that. So cultural fit to me is just so important, and that's why employees if they're not going to fit in, you cannot change someone's culture. You guys agree with that? You can't change someone's DNA if they come into your organization. If they're not driven, you can't make them driven.
No, I agree. It's a tough call, because I've had some. I'm going to categorize them the millennials. Right?
Yeah, we know.
And they're difficult. but you can mold them. You can sit with them. They're going to get older. You can teach them the way they want. And then I've had some employees that they didn't have the energy, and I'm very high energy, and that's really what I look for. And if they work at a much slower pace, and that's really difficult. So yes, I agree. Oh, but you hate to say that.
Yeah,
about
no,
the
and
millennials.
that's what our driven is, right? It's like if someone is slow and steady wins the race, and slow and steady wins the race and can't get out of first gear, they're not going to fit with the fast-paced environment that we've driven. And the people, our other employers are going to look at this person and say, he's doing half the work that we're doing. Just like you, if you're a high energy and you guys are, I'm sure are high energy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be the same things. They're going to stick out like a sore thumb. They really do all the time. They really do. So.
Yeah, everything's timed with us. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, gotta go. But yeah, I agree. But sometimes I really like the first jobs, especially because we have a great group of teenagers in high school that work for us, and actually they're our longest employees. They've been with us for a year. We've got several of them, and it's been great to see them grow through their first job in employment, and really be able to give them some of those cultural beliefs and show them, hey, this is how you work in a
Right.
in an industry or in a job, and actually give them some life skills too, which has been helpful too.
Kind of like watching a baby grow up.
It is because it's like, if they have conflicts with their schedule or whatever, okay, you have to have a conversation with your manager, and so helping them grow, because they're on the phones and everything all the time now. It's like, all right, let's teach you some life skills. How do you have this conversation?
How to speak to people on a telephone.
Let's how to talk on a telephone. Like now I role play during a lot of the interviews because all they do is text, So it's let's help
I
you
never
with
thought
this.
of it that way.
They've lost that human interaction with
Right.
other people. They
So-
can only type on their phone.
Yeah.
So then they got to talk to people on the phone and they freeze up.
So it's been really cool to see them grow and be able to do that. And I feel like we're helping, and that's been really neat to see.
And that is fun. We enjoy that too. We brought a lot of people who've never been in the sign business before, and they are loving what they're doing now. And it is interesting to see the whole team gel together and grow together and things like that.
Yeah, definitely.
So I guess one last question. So Leta, in 5 years, where are you and where is your business? If you have that vision, where do you see yourself in 5 years? 2025.
It's going to be big. I can tell it's going to be big. We'll probably have multiple locations. I myself, with the blog and the podcast and sort of a lot of the different things that I've been asked to do here in Atlanta, I'm really stepping out into that influencer sort of status. And so I anticipate that that's going to take off in a big way too. I have 3 podcasts today, and none of which are my own. So I've been on,
That's
which
awesome.
is huge, yeah. And so just a lot happening. So I just see forward growth. I see Status having its 10-year anniversary. I see the new store being opened. I'm really trying to create, honestly, a city center. We're trying to go into a city that needs some wow factor and really create a big Status with the classrooms and bring on a cafe and partner with a restaurant. And so
That sounds so exciting.
there's a really big vision there. So 5 years is gonna be amazing. Status is gonna be big.
You're going to be a busy lady.
I am now. Yes. Yeah. So but I love it. I don't sit still. I have a really hard time relaxing. I'm very much a visionary. I've had to learn how to handle a lot of the detailed stuff because it is just me. So those little details can't fall by the wayside.
Oh, I would agree with that.
But I have my team. I've mentioned them many times in this conversation, and when you have those managers, they are picking up, all those
Right.
details also in a big way. So it's not just me, but in some regards it is.
Yeah.
And for the Thompsons and Marcos, what do you guys see yourselves 5 years from now?
Well, I guess we have an announcement too. We have signed for our second location.
Good for you.
Yeah, so we are looking for we're still looking for commercial real estate for our second location. We thought it'd be easy, but it's not right now during the pandemic. So so we have signed for our second Marcos location. So which is great. So we want to continue to see ourselves grow, and probably in 5 years having 3 to 4 of them and being able to operate those and continue to serve communities that we're in. So it's really exciting.
Well, that is exciting. But here's the one question I've got for all of y'all. Now that you're going to have 2 locations or multiple locations, is it going to worry you that you're not going to be able to have hands on and eyes on the other location? I know you probably visit.
Yeah.
But it's just not the same, especially from my standpoint, walking outside the office and seeing what's going on, right?
I want to operate at a higher level, so being able to look at overall things and analyze the business from a higher level perspective. And right now, only having one location, my husband I get too in the weeds with what's happening on the minute to minute, hour by hour in this one location. But I do have a great team that I can trust. But it just you only have the one, so you get so in the weeds with that.
It's your baby.
It's the baby. It is the baby. Yeah. So it is our kid, and so I think having the 2, we can operate at a higher level. Really look at it from a business aspect, and how do we help those managers in the locations grow to be able to identify those things that I see at the higher level, which is really where I want to be. In my past, really developing leaders has been huge for me, and that's what I want to continue to do with Marco's, is be able to develop my leaders so that they can do more and maybe even be business owners themselves if they have that desire to do.
Yeah, well, that's great.
Do you see the same challenges, Leta?
No, I really don't. I'm going to answer that a little different. And because I did take the leap of faith and hired a store manager, so status, it probably takes the most of my time, the retail status. Right. The e-commerce is in great hands, and not that the store is not, but there's a lot more moving parts.
Right.
Because that's the foot traffic, that's customers and vendors. Everybody's got to be happy. But to be able to do the podcast and create Status Life with Leta, the blog kind of podcast platform, and the e-commerce, I had to take a step back from the store. So I feel like I can answer it a little different because I've already taken that leap of faith and put somebody in place to run and handle the store. And it's been very successful. So these other ventures are happening with a phenomenal team. So that's the advice. You will get someone who you trust implicitly. They will run the ins and outs, and you will go work on that second location and then the third. And I can absolutely see you doing it.
Yeah.
So
Thank
congrats.
you.
Yes.
Thanks.
And we have the same thing. We are going to retire in 3 years. Teresa says no, but we're going to retire in 3 years. So the question is, how do you build the infrastructure to be able to have the business run without you being there? So our plan in 2020, which got totally annihilated was we take extra weeks of vacation every year and see if the business is still running when we get back. We did that once, and the business caught on fire, but it was okay. Seriously, the business
really caught on fire.
Oh, it really did.
Literally caught on
did.
fire. Yeah, we're taking a nap on a cruise ship, and the phone rings in the cabin. Because my 2 sons are going to run the business, and they're doing a good job now. But the phone rings, and it's my daughter-in-law. Says, "Well, Matt's probably not going to call you about this. He doesn't want to bother you on vacation. But I thought you might want to know that your building caught on fire, and
fire truck and everything.
Oh, my goodness.
But you know what? It was probably not a bad thing, because by the time we got back 10 days later, Teresa was like, "We're getting on a plane the next day."
It was a week later.
Yeah, well, it was about a week later. She goes, "We're going to get on a plane." I said, no, we're just going to let it go. They had got the remediation done. They had hired the contractor. They had done the insurance claim. They had gotten everything done that we would have done if we were there. The only thing we really had to do when we get back is fight with the insurance company about how much they were going to pay us for it, right? So, but it's one of those things that the longer we take away and the more authority they get, they no longer see themselves as our sons, but as leaders in the business. Mm-hmm. So, and that's gratifying as mom and dad to see, but it's also gratifying to see what we've built can run by itself without mom and dad having to be there all the time. So as we wrap this up, from Marco's standpoint, anybody wants to learn more about you, get in touch with you, what's the contact?
Absolutely,
from your family?
yeah. You can reach out to me at my email, N as in Natalie, Thompson, THOMPSON, at marcospizza.net. I'd be happy to share with anybody, or come visit us at our store, 2771 Cruse Road in Lawrenceville, and we'd be happy to serve you. I'd love to have a pizza with you. Come on by.
And Leta, from your standpoint?
We have a website, so all the different ventures I've talked about, it's all built into one site. It is www.statushomedesign.com. Of course, we have the retail store. We are open 7 days a week, 10 to 6, Monday through Saturday, and 12 to 6 on Sunday. So definitely come shop. If you listen to the podcast, please tell me when you come to the store, hey, I listened to the show and I'm here. I love that feedback, so thank you. If you go to that website, there are contact us. It goes straight to my inbox. I respond to every request or message that I get. I also have Facebook, Instagram, all the different social media handles. I have Status Home Design. I have Status Life with Leta, and I have the Status Market. So you can basically put Status into Google and you will find us.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds good. We'd like to thank you guys both for coming today. We've enjoyed the conversation. And thank you for joining us on Reaching the Summit, presented by Pinnacle Custom Signs. Get a more prominent look with your business signage. To see how we can help your business reach the summit, visit us on our website at pinnaclecustomsigns.com or on any of our social media channels. Remember that you can also enjoy any of our episodes at any time by visiting businessradiox.com, selecting the Gwinnett Studio, and then click on Reaching the Summit. Additionally, you can also find us on your favorite podcast apps such as Apple iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, or any of your favorite podcast applications. Until next time, for Pinnacle Custom Signs, I'm Teresa Conklin, and with Don Conklin, you've been listening to Reaching the Summit on Business Radio X. Hope you have a great day.